Hello and welcome back to a very special Drag Race UK live stream here on The Mirror. My name is Ryan Wilks and today I'm joined by the insanely talented Vanity Milan. Hey Vanity, how are you?
Hi, sweet. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. If you do have any questions today for Vanity, please do drop them down in the comment section below and we will try and get those answered for you today. So first things first, Vanity, how did you feel after last night's elimination? You ought to be so proud to make it to the final four.
I'm a proud little bunny. It's a bittersweet moment, but I knew it was coming. But I made it to top four, so I never thought that would happen.
Great. And like you say, you should be so proud of yourself because making it to the final four on Drag Race, it's a journey, isn't it? Like, how was the whole journey in general? Like, did you say that you were nervous or was it just a ride like that you've always been waiting for, would you say?
To be honest with you, I think it was definitely a journey. There was ups and there was downs. There was moments where I wanted to leave, but I think for myself, it was, the journey and the growth and making sure that I represent a lot of people.
Definitely. And now, Vanity, you did just say about the growth, and I think that the judges actually saw that too. What would be the number one thing that you say, like going into the show and then till now? What would you say the main part of growth has been in your drag so far?
I think the overall drag journey in itself, like what works for me, what doesn't work for me, my makeup, the hair, the costumes. I think that in itself speaks for itself. And I served a really good look on my last episode, which is amazing. So you can definitely see the growth from episode 1 to episode 9.
Amazing. And we do have a fan question from Mitch who said he's in love with your drag and he loves you so much.
Oh, thank you so much.
So walking into the workroom, Vanity, on day one, it must have been very, very daunting. How did you feel making your Drag Race debut? Did you feel a certain amount of pressure to impress those who were rooting for you back home, would you say?
There was a huge amount of pressure to kind of represent people who were rooting for me back home because my husband made most of my costumes. My sister, Cissy Lee, she helped me with jewelry and hair, and she gave me a little bit of money to, be able to be on the show. So there was a lot of pressure, but it's a platform that I wanted to be on for such a long time, and I've watched the show for such a long time, and to be actually accepted onto the show was a blessing for me.
Yeah, it's definitely a huge achievement that you should be proud of, definitely. And we also have a comment from my own boyfriend, actually, who is actually in love with you. Daniel says that he loves you, Vanity.
Oh, boyfriend. I love that. Hi, Daniel. Thank you so much.
So let's address the elephant in the room, babe. You did have to lip sync 4 times the competition, and each time you lit that stage on fire. Which was your favourite lip sync, would you say, and why was that your favourite, would you say?
Well, it has to be so scandalous. I think that was a great lip sync because of the back and forth that me and Alicia Dixon was doing. Oh my God, she gave me life and I was giving her life and she couldn't sit down. Like you could just see, like she was just going for it and I was going for it. There was a time where I literally forgot that there was another contestant on the stage because it was just our moment. So that definitely has to be one of the best lip syncs that I have done on Drag Race and my favorite. And I love the song so much. It's so iconic.
For sure. And I even said to Scarlett last week, I was like, it literally was a moment in Drag Race history. And I'd actually say, like, watching it as a viewer, I was like, I was distracted by Alicia. So, like, God knows how you felt. Was she distracting for you or were you just living the moment?
I was living my best life because I got to perform that song to the person who was on that track. So it's just like performing in front of Beyonce, or let's say like my favorite artist, Todrick Hall. Like imagine performing in front of your favorite artist. You're going to give them everything and more because it's their song. And you don't want to let them down, do you?
Yeah, like it must have been daunting, but at the same time, it must have been so exciting, like you say, to perform like the artist track in front of them. It's kind of like you giving them a one-woman show.
Yeah, it was very daunting. And I was like, do not mess this up, because if you mess this up, you're going home.
Yeah. So the judges have critiqued you, Vanity, a couple of times on wearing the colour orange and repeating the same colour palette. But I thought that the colour was beautiful on your skin tone. Did you go into Drag Race knowing that like orange was going to be your colour? Or would you say that it came from like the sewing challenge and then mixed with the charity challenge? How would you say?
I only had 2 orange looks. I brought 2 orange looks. And also the dress that I'm wearing now that I mocked from the BBC Drag Race charity look is it just happened to be a third extra look. So I didn't go in there going, I'm going to be the orange queen of the season. Orange is the new black. Like I didn't go in there thinking that. It just how the cards were dealt. And you know, when we get the runways, we don't think about the order. They don't give it to us in order. So one week I was wearing, another week I was wearing orange, another week I was wearing orange. So when we finished filming, I was like, I know what my promo look is going to be. Orange.
Definitely. Yeah. And what would you say that your favorite look of the whole series was?
It would have to be the look that I did not want to wear, which was my Fugly Ball Challenge look, the big quilt looking thing with the reveal underneath. That was my favorite look. I just looked so gothic, and that was the kind of vibe I was giving, like a gothic wedding dress vibe, and I loved it. It was something different, and it's something that you haven't seen on Drag Race before.
Definitely look absolutely stunning. So this week was the roast challenge. I'm not sure if you were excited with that when you heard out the news. When you walked back into the workroom after last week, though, the conversation quickly turned to badges. And Miss Ella Day was quick to say that she had 4.
Yes.
Would you say that the conversation of badges made you feel a little bit scared only having 1, or would you say that it like kind of lit a fire under your skirt to push on through the challenge?
It definitely lit a fire under my skirt to push on with this challenge. I definitely knew that I got the badge at a group challenge, and it was going to come to question like, well, I've got a solo win and a sash. So it was definitely something that I was like, maybe, you know, people are going to call me out for, in which they did. But I solidified myself a place in the top 4 by giving my one single talent, which is lip syncing, and it's taken me this far. And also, not just the one single talent, because I think when people hear me say that one single talent, there is multiple talents, but you know, it's definitely something that I take a critique from the judges one week and bring it to the runway the next week.
For sure. Like, honestly, you should be so proud of yourself, Vanity. I loved you on the show. I thought you were absolutely incredible.
Thank you so much.
We've got another question from Mitch, who wants to know, how was it roasting your fellow queens and then coming back?
Well, I'm a very nice person and I love all of my sisters. So it was very difficult even for me to look into the audience and say anything rude. It was either be very nice, but I know it's a roast, or be very cutthroat. And I took the easy route and just roasted myself, to be honest. So apart from when I told them they looked like the white Supremes, that was funny. Because they were sitting there like, which was
they
really
just didn't know what to say, did they?
They were like, who are they?
So in last night's roast, you did mention that you were obviously the only Black queen on the season. How did it feel going onto the show and knowing that you had to represent for all of the Black and POC performers across the country?
There was a lot of pressure because, you know, walking into the workroom and seeing the cast itself, I was like, damn, there's no Black other. Here's my sisters, but there is no sister. So there was no one for me to bounce off of and talk makeup when I was getting makeup tips and stuff from other people. That I couldn't, you know, there was no one there. There was pressure, but at the same time, what I want to see is a lot more diversity in the next upcoming seasons. And it's not just diversity within color, it's diversity in the British drag culture and the cabaret culture. There's drag kings, more AFAB queens. There's more people out there who do what we do as well and do it maybe even better. To give them a platform to showcase their talents as well.
Definitely. And speaking of that, is there any queens that you'd like to see, any POC performers, drag kings, AFAB queens? Who would you like to see on the show?
I would love to see everybody Black.
Period.
All the queens I know work with, I would love to see them all. I'm not going to name all because there's a lot of queens that I would love to see on the season. I'd also like to see diversity in age as well. Like, give me like an older queen that has been working their arse off for a very long time and give them a platform now.
Definitely. Speaking of POC performers and also age range, I'd love to see Sandra London on the show. I think she'd be incredible. She's so funny as well.
Mm-hmm.
So the lip sync with Crystal was one of your incredible lip syncs, and I think it's safe to say that it's going to go down in history. It was incredible. How did it feel standing there next to Crystal?
How did I feel?
Yeah, how did you feel?
I knew in the back of my mind that it was my time to go. And there was one thing I said to Crystal before the lip sync started, which was give them hell. And that was a sign for both of us to give a great show. And no matter what happens, I love her to death. So, you know, it is what it is. But we served a great lip sync.
Definitely Vanity. And like you say, you put on a show. That's what Drag Race is for. If you end up in the bottom, at the end of the day, I think that the majority of the UK, in an awful way, like seeing you in the bottom so they could see you perform so much, which was crazy.
The amount of comments that I got saying, you know, I don't wish you to be in the bottom every week, but if you are in the bottom every week, give us a great lip sync. And I said, oh, well, I understood the assignment, so let's do that.
Definitely. So next week is the grand finale, which we have ourselves a fabulous final three. Who are you rooting for to take the crown? Or do you not want to say in case that causes a little bit of drama?
I'm not saying any name. I think I've said this in every interview I've done today. Each and every single one of those girls in the top three have solidified their place in the top three for a specific reason. And it's anyone's game. I've known Ella for a very long time. I started drag in 2019. I know Kitty from 2019. And I've seen Crystal on social media and actually getting to know her during the show. They've all worked really hard to get to that place. So it's a tough call. I don't want to make the call either. So good luck to Ru.
Yeah, definitely. And the final question for you, Vanity. We know that Ru loves to throw a twist in the works and invite queens back for All Stars or to be a lip sync assassin on All Stars. And I think that you would make a great addition as a lip sync assassin or an All Stars. How would you feel about returning to the competition? Would you like to do that again? And what would you do differently?
I would love to return to an All Stars, International All Stars. I would love to come back and showcase just a little bit more of me. Now that I know what actually goes on, I definitely will show a little bit more of my personality, not just Dutty Rice, a lot more than, you know, just give it a lot more. And what I would do differently, I don't think I would do anything differently apart from just open up a little bit more and turn out a great show. Because you know, it's an entertainment show at the end of the day, isn't it? And I'm here to entertain.
Definitely, and you definitely did entertain Vanity. So I'd like to thank you for your time today. It's been lovely speaking to you, and I'll definitely be at one of your shows to see you very, very soon. Thank you.
Thank you.